Hey everyone, take a look at the new Nominating Contract packs on eFootball. We've got new Player of the Month packs from the Turkish, Brazilian, and Japanese leagues, a bunch of 4-star and 5-stars. I'm not going to be reviewing Player of the Week today. I don't know when that review is going to go live. I'll try my best to get that done over the next week before it expires, but I'm going to be focusing on FM today. I've been waiting a while for the new FM to come out. It's an early access today, so there's going to be 1 or 2 FM streams over the next couple of days, and then we'll just see how time goes, and if I can, I'll try and get the Player of the Week pack reviewed as well. But I've got this one done in the meantime as a priority, because I know some of you guys have always got contracts expiring, so hopefully this video will help you to make your decisions on who to use contracts on if you do have some expiring. As always, I'll put timestamps in the description for each player, and I'll also do a 4-star recommendation section as well. I've got a timestamp in for that, so if you're short of time or you just don't like the sound of my voice, you can always skip to the 4-star recommendations as well. So we will let's start in Japan. So in Japan, all 4 stars, I believe. Yeah, all 4 stars. Let's start with this fellow. Let's start with Kento Hashimoto. So there are actually 2 Kento Hashimotos in the game, not to get them confused. One's a defensive midfielder, destroyer. This is the left-footed Kento Hashimoto. I've actually got a version of this guy. It's the only version I've had of him previously. It's a Showtime version. He's a whole player left mid. He's pretty decent to be fair. He's not really got anything special about him, but he's pretty tidy. This is a left-back version. He is normally a left-back. He's normally a full-back finisher. It changes to an attacking full-back. That's the only real change in terms of the kind of profile. So yeah, we've got a left-back here. He's got a face scan, of course. Plays for Albirex Niigata. They're going down to J2, unfortunately. He's had a pretty nice boost pretty much everywhere, to be honest, from his GP card. He's lost a couple of points for speed, but he can afford that. But yeah, a bunch of points added on loads of attributes. I think what you got is a pretty typical, very attacking fullback. You know, the speed's pretty good, stamina likewise. Is the acceleration high enough? It's a little bit lacking, I think most people would say, but overall I think he's got enough pace. A little bit lacking physically, a little bit lacking defensively. Apart from that, though, balance is decent on the ball, and with his passing and his crossing, pretty decent to be fair. I think for a 4-star attacking fullback, he's looking pretty tidy. And when we come to the skills, all he's got in his GP card is pinpoint crossing. So they've added 1-touch pass, through passing, weighted pass, and then defensively they've got man marking, interception, and fighting spirit. Really nice selection skills for an attacking fullback. Really nice. So yeah, the question mark really, like I say, some people might feel like he needs a bit more acceleration, but I think the real question mark is just a couple of those defenses there, the awareness and tackling, and the lack of physical strength. So he's very much an attacking fullback. If you're like a real defensive fullback, not just in terms of the playing style, but just in terms of the profile and being physically strong and being, you know, good at defending, then he's probably not going to be your kind of fullback. But if you're like an attacking forward, to be able to get forward, you know, put cross into the box and contribute to the attacks and just be able to do at least the bare minimum defensively, I think for a 4-star contract, this guy looks pretty decent. Like I say, just 1 or 2 slight concerns there, but it's mainly the physical and defensive side. He does have a couple of defensive skills thrown in there and fighting spirit. He's got some really nice skills going forward. So yeah, he's very much an attacking fullback. For an attacking fullback for a 4-star contract, I think he's a fairly solid one. I think certainly if you still got to do the J League challenge, or if you just rock a J League squad any other time, I think it'll be a pretty tidy one. I think left back for me is one of the positions I've found the hardest to fill in my J League squads over time. So yeah, for a very attacking fullback, I think it's a decent one for a 4-star contract. Can play left midfield, but is he good enough on the ball? Has he got the attacking awareness? Yeah, not so sure. Certainly he's got a bit of pace he can put across on him. So yeah, you can certainly do worse as a left winger, but I think primarily as a left back and a very attacking left back for a 4-star contract. Looks pretty tidy to be fair. Good start. So, what about Shuto Abe? Is he going to be any good? We've got a box-to-box centre fielder from Gamba Osaka. Got a face scan. He's a little fellow, only 171 centimetres. I actually saw him get sent off recently for a high boot on the goalie. I thought it was a bit harsh. He went for the ball. Had to go for it, really. A bit of a harsh decision, but yeah. He's in Player of the Month nonetheless. It's the first time I've had a PG version of him. He's had a decent boost to his attack awareness and his finishing. His pace, his kicking power, bit of physical contact and balance. But not a lot in his technicals down the left, really, which is a bit frustrating because they're not particularly high. Nothing on his low pass. They've taken a point away from his lofted pass. Wow. So yeah, I guess that's what you get when you're one of the best players in the J League over the past month and you're a centre midfielder. You're just not very good on the ball or at passing, apparently. Yeah, this isn't looking like a great card. We made a good start with Hashimoto, but this guy for me, I'm not impressed. Is he good on the ball? Not really. Is his passing good? No. Is he good at defending? No. Is he physically strong? No. Why would anyone get this card? I'm not sure. What skills? Okay, so the skills are looking pretty good. It's got one touch and through, they're important. Through passing is new, that's been added. They've also added interception and blocker. It's got fighting spirit there. Yeah, so you've got a couple of shooting skills, you've got the passing, got interception, blocker, fighting spirit. You've got a very good section of skills there, but to what extent does that compensate for his stats not being very good? Not enough for me. The only things that are really where they need to be for me, the pace, kicking power, which isn't really important on centre mid. Balance is okay, stamina's good. Apart from that, he's just not very good to me. The attack and defensive awareness both a bit low. He's not great on the ball, can't really pass the ball. It's not great defensively. Yeah, this isn't a good card for me, unfortunately. There's a few stats that are okay. He's got a very good selection of skills, but that's not enough for me. It's not going to cut it. As a defensive mid, he's nowhere near strong enough defensively or physically. As an attacking mid, he's nowhere near good enough technically or with the attacking awareness. And as an all-rounder, as a centre midfielder, just too many stats there just aren't high enough. So, yeah, I don't want to sound too pessimistic, but honestly, even if this guy was a 3-star, I wouldn't even touch him. So it's not a great-looking card to me. This one is a different story though. So we've got Masaya Shibayama. He's a creative playmaker, attack midfielder, normally a right midfielder. He's got a face scan and he is teeny. He is 161 centimeters tall. He had a previous Player of the Month card. I got it. And it's pretty neat to be fair. It's only a 3-star, so this is an upgrade. But yeah, even for a 3-star, that card is pretty neat. He had a bit of pace. He was tricking the ball. His dribbling was better actually on that previous one. His lofted pass is better as well. But apart from that, this one's better. It's better on the whole. 1 and 2 attributes boosted quite a bit. Balance is about 15 higher than that previous one. Much better balance. Really good balance on this guy. So yeah, you got a teeny fella. And if his previous one felt really nice in the ball, and so will this one. This looks like a really fun little card. This Shibayama. His weaker for accuracy has been increased. He's had a nice boost on his awareness and his finishing. He's been boosted a bit on the ball. Got a bit on his low pass. They've nerfed his lofted pass though. All down the right, he's had a bit of a boost. Yeah, on the whole, he's looking pretty neat. He's got that low centre of gravity, got a bit of pace, decent on the ball, got a little bit of end product. Attack awareness is all right. Balance is fantastic. Like I said, the previous one, it was in the 70s, it was poor, but it still felt really nice on the ball. Skill-wise, what have we got here? So we've got a bunch of new skills. They've added first-time shot, they've added through passing, they've added pinpoint crossing, they've added outside curler, they've added fighting spirit. I think that's about it. He's already a super sub. Nice. Got a couple of skills on the ball there. Soul control. Yeah, the one he's really lacking is long range curler, to be honest, because I think for most people this guy's gonna be best wide right as a left footer cutting in from the right flank. So it's a bit of a shame he's not got long range curler. Really, that's the one skill he's kind of lacking. But apart from that, though, he's at least got first time shot, and like I say, a couple of nice skills on the ball. Through passing, pinpoint crossing. He's a super sub as well. Yeah, this is a neat little card. This for me, I think is going to be one of the more popular ones for a 4-star this time around. If you're looking at a 5-star, there's a bunch of stats you'd like to be a little bit higher, but this is a 4-star. I think he's got enough of everything really to be a tidy wing option. Whether you could play him in the position of giving him attack midfield, 82 low pass. He's got through passing but no one-touch pass. Is he going to cut it as an attacking mid? For me personally, probably not. And with a nerf to his lofted pass, even though they're giving him pinpoint crossing, I'm pretty sure they've added pinpoint crossing, but nerfed his lofted pass. So again, that makes no sense whatsoever. But yeah, he doesn't have a particularly good cross on him. I'm not sure he'd be great on the left, but certainly from that right wing, I think that's where you get the most value from him. Because like I say, he's pretty nippy, got great balance, he's decent on the ball, even if his dribbling's not quite as good as that previous version of him was. It's still okay. You're in +3 territory. He's got a little bit of end product as well. I think this could be a fun one, especially as a super sub. Like I say, my personal experience, I've got other previous versions that's not as good, and I've enjoyed using it. I've used them a bunch of times in my JD squad, even though it's only a 3-star card. You do feel that low centre of gravity on him, even albeit since the major update, smaller players don't seem to feel quite so good compared to bigger players as they used to, but you will still notice it. So for me, this could be a fun one on the ball. It could be a nice little right winger, especially as a super sub. So yeah, for a 4-star, looks like it could be a fairly handy card, especially for a JD squad. Next up is Naomichi. So I was pretty excited when I saw this guy. I used to sign this guy in Master League all the time. He was a great bargain centre-back. He's got a face scan. He's a build-up, which he normally is. I think he may have been a destroyer at one point. His previous, he's another one who had a previous Player of the Month card, 3-star. I've got that one. That was a destroyer. This is obviously an upgrade. It's a 4-star. He's also had a highlight card. It's pretty similar overall. But this one is a bit quicker, better passing, but that highlight's slightly better defensively. Pretty similar overall though, and you can obviously train that card. As you'd expect from a trending centre-back, Nice boost to his pace and his stamina. That's what you always get, really. Bit of a boost on his aerial and physical strength. But they've slightly nerfed his defensive. That's quite annoying for a player of the month centre-back. But that's just eFootball logic, I guess. They've added, I make that 17 points to his lofted pass. Nice. He did get at least one assist with a lovely ball forward. He must have done that at least once, maybe more than once. Have they added passing skills as well? Yeah. Oh, hello. Okay. So one touch pass, through passing, both of those are new. Pinpoint crossing. He must have put a cross in for one goal. Interesting. Have they added captaincy? They've added blocker. But yeah, the one disappointment for me, because like I say, I was excited when I saw this guy. I would have loved an upgrade on my Ueda card, especially with him being a build-up instead of a destroyer this time, but there's no interception. That's the one skill he's badly lacking there. He's also lacking acrobatic clearance, which is not as important, but it's still a shame not to have that. So, yeah, nice to have those passing skills thrown in. And of course, these cards are based on real-life performances, so you can't complain about them giving him pinpoint crossing if he, presumably put a nice cross in for a goal for Kashmir Antlers. But, yeah, for a centre-back not to have interception, and like I said, acrobatic clearance is a bit of a miss as well. So it's a real shame for me, but he does have most of the important skills for a centre back. You got man marking, blocker, you got heading and aerial, sliding tackle, captaincy, fight spirit, a couple of those passing skills there as well. So yeah, there is plenty to be said for him as a 4-star centre back, but on the whole, are the defensives quite where you want them to be? I mean, for a 4-star, they're certainly not bad, but obviously they're a bit short of where you want them to be in general. But that's because it's a 4-star card, so he's kind of just. I think pretty much across the board, when you look at all his stats, he's okay everywhere. There's no real major weakness with the stats. He's okay defensively, physically and aerially he's okay. The pace is okay. Stamina's decent. Obviously the lofted pass is great. But yeah, lacking a couple of skills, primarily interception, and none of the stats are particularly special. So yeah, on my Japan account, I'll probably pick him up, but just the fact he's not got interception, I'm not sure how much of an upgrade he's going to be on my 3-star version, because I'm pretty sure that one's got interception. So there's a couple of concerns there, and the stats aren't anything special really anywhere, but certainly there's no major weakness. So if you're lacking centre-backs for your J-League squad, he could well be a decent one. There are plenty of positives with him, but just like I say, 1 or 2 negatives, primarily just the fact he's lacking interception really. But yeah, he could well do a job for you if you need centre-backs for your J-League squad. And next we have Satoshi Tanaka from Sanfrecce Hiroshima. So, face scan, orchestrated DMF. He's had a couple of highlight cards, this guy, and they're both Destroyer, interestingly. So I think they've just changed his profile at some point. Both those highlights were Destroyer, and they had defensive midfield and centre-back, but not centre midfield. Whereas now we've got defensive midfield and centre midfield, but not centre-back. And we're on Orchestrator, of course, as well. Those two Destroyer highlight cards are better defensively than this card, but they weren't so good down the left and the right, and on a lot of stats. So a slightly different profile to what those highlights had. He's had a nice boost on the left-hand side from his GP card. He's been nerfed a bit defensively. He's had a pretty nice boost to his pace, his balance. They put a bit on his physical contact and his stamina. And then skill-wise, all he's got on his GP card, it looks like just man marking, fighting spirit. So everything else is new there. 1-touch pass and through passing, weighted pass. He got some nice passing skills there defensively. Already had man marking, got interception as well though. Very nice addition, very important one. So yeah, on the whole, pretty good selection skills there for DMF. I mean, first time shots not too important, but you got some nice passing skills, outside curler, and a couple of defensive ones in fighting spirit. It's going to come down to whether he's good enough on the ball, I think. I mean, the defensive awareness isn't brilliant. It's definitely the kind of DMF that you'd want to put in a double pivot, not have as your kind of lone DMF. I think that goes without saying, really. He's not got great physical strength. He's not got great defensive awareness. So yeah, as a lone DMF, I don't think so. I think he's either going to be in a double pivot with some kind of destroyer or anchorman alongside him doing most of the defensive work, or he's going to be pushed a bit further forward as a CMF. But the question then is his passing good enough? Because 81 low pass. I mean, they seem to have been doing this quite a bit lately. Are they telling us that you don't need as high an attribute for, as high a number there on your low pass? I don't know what they're telling us. I'm not aware that of anything's changing there in terms of thresholds and stuff. So for me, I'm looking at that and thinking that's not great. Yes, he's got the passing skills. They'll one touch them through. They will definitely help a lot, but is 81 high enough for his low pass? I think it depends how you're going to use him. I think for most people, if on a real defensive midfielder like a destroyer or an anchorman, a lot of people would say that's fine for low pass, but this is an orchestrator. He's more of a deep line playmaker. He's kind of got a bit of everything, but even then, yeah, I don't think his passing to be quite good enough, and he's not great on the ball. So yeah, there are qualities with this guy. Certainly, I think he's got a very good selection skills there, and he's got a bit of everything really with the stats, but Going forward, poor attacking awareness, not great on the ball. Passing is not going to be brilliant. Defensively, the awareness and physical contact kind of suck a bit. So, yeah, for what you want a DMF to really be good at, it's like you either want a DMF to be really good at defending and physically strong, which he's obviously not, or if he's a deep line playmaker, you want him to excel with his passing, and he just doesn't really. So, whatever role you want to give this guy, I don't think he really excels where he needs to. So it's another slightly disappointing card. I think he's probably a bit better than Shuto Abe on the whole. But yeah, just the fact that he doesn't quite, he's not quite got what he needs in any particular area to really excel in any role. This card to me just doesn't look like a great one, really. And next we have Taiyo Koga. So, plays for Kashiwa Reysol. They've been fantastic this season. I'd love if they won the league, but it's a bit of a stretch at this point. So he's got a face scan, build up centre back, only 6 foot tall, so a slight question mark over his height. Jumping only 82 as well, so yeah, aerial ability could be a bit of a concern with this guy. He's had a few highlight cards, this guy, but this one's got a bit more on pace, bit less on the defensives. That's pretty much what you expect from a trending centre back compared to trainable versions. The boost is mainly on his pace and his stamina, a bit on his passing. Slight boost to his defensives and his jumping and physical contact. We've lost 3 points off heading though. So we're back to having heading nerfed on centre backs. I mean, he needed a boost there, if anything, down to 72 heading. That's not great. So there's a real concern over this guy's aerial ability. He's not the tallest, he's not got great jumping, and when he wins the headers, his heading's only 72. He doesn't have the heading skill either. So yeah, there's the one concern with this guy, is the aerial ability. But on the whole though, pace is okay. The defenses are, certainly for a 4-star centre back, are pretty decent. Physical strength, yeah, borderline. I think for a lot of people that's probably okay. For me, it's a little bit low. You're at least in +3 territory if you've got an 89 rated manager. But yeah, the aerial strength is the one concern. Outside of the aerial strength, I think it's looking pretty solid for a 4-star centre back. Unwavering form, you don't get that often. You seem to get it a bit more often these days on J League cards, but certainly over the course of time, there's not been that many unwavering cards from the J League. So unwavering form as well, that's a positive. And then skill-wise, he does lack heading, but they've added a few. They've added one-touch pass, that's a new one. They've added a few important ones: man marking, interception, blocker, sliding tackle. So yeah, on the whole, we've got a good set of skills here. He's got aerial superiority, that will help. So yeah, in terms of winning headers, it'll be kind of okay, not great. When he does win them, his heading isn't going to be brilliant. So aerially, there is a concern, even with aerial superiority there. But man marking, interception, blocker, sliding, acrobatic, yeah, you got on the ground, you got just about every skill defensively. It's just the heading skill that's lacking, and he's not going to be great at winning headers in the first place either. But captaincy and fighting spirit as well, and then you got one touch and weighted up there as a couple of passing skills as a bonus. Yeah, I think it's just the aerial ability that's the one concern with this guy. If that's not a big concern for you, if your opponent's not got big beefy strikers and he's not spamming crosses, everywhere else this guy for a 4-star contract looks pretty solid. I think this is a decent card actually, to be fair. It's just that one obvious concern with the aerial ability, but like I say, that's not always going to be a concern. It just depends what you're up against and what how your opponent's playing. But outside of the aerial concern, I think this guy looks pretty solid, and he could be a very decent pickup. And like I say, unwavering form as well. It could be a very decent 4-star centre back for a J League squad, this guy. Right, let's head to, where are we going? We're going to Brazil. And in Brazil, we've got, is it 4 stars? Yep, we've got 4 4-stars. Who are we going to start with? Let's start with him. So we've got Pedro Henrique. This guy is normally a right-wing forward and a prolific winger. He is now a left midfielder and a hole player. He does not have a face scan. He's 35 years old. I'm not sure if he'll get a face scan. Hopefully he will, for people who pick this card up. It's the first time I've had a feature version of this guy. He's had a nice boost to his end product. A bit of a boost to his defending, of course, because he's an attacking player. Physical contact's up a bit. A few points in his lower body as well. And yeah, he's looking alright, actually. He's got SS, but I don't think I'll be playing this guy in any central areas. His passing does not look particularly good. What's his skill situation there? He's got through passing at least, but yeah, the passing's not going to be great. I think he's definitely a wide man, this guy. They've added a long-range curler. That's a good addition. First-time shot as well. And through passing is new. Okay, so only 3 skills added there, but there's some good ones. He's a super sub as well, so we got another attacking super sub, always nice. So got a few shooting skills there. Got a long-range curler, dipping shot, long-range shooting, acrobatic finishing, first-time shot. We've got a bunch of shooting skills. And then we've got through passing. Yeah, this is definitely one of these wingers who you're going to be focusing on trying to get him into attack, shooting positions and scoring goals. He's not going to be great at creating them, but does at least have through passing to improve his passing a bit, and super sub. And yeah, I think on the whole for a 4-star, this guy could be very usable actually. He's got the pace, a little bit of kicking power behind his shots, reasonable balance. On the ball, he's decent. Our dribbling's going over 90 with the game plan boost. The attacking awareness is going past the 80 mark. Like I say, the passing does suck. Be careful with that, but he's got all the shooting skills, and that finishing attribute isn't too bad. Certainly for a 4-star, it's not great, but for a 4-star, it certainly could be worse. So yeah, I think on the whole, this guy looks all right. He's a right footer, so probably better on the left, cutting inside into his right foot. Can play on the right as well. If you play him as a wide forward, he won't have an active playing style, but you can, of course, still play him there. As I keep saying, I will get back to those videos at some point. I'm just struggling for time. But as a left or right midfielder, with the whole player playing style active, making all those attacking runs into spaces, you get him into a good shooting position, he could be pretty tidy. I think for a Brazil squad, he could be decent. I do wonder, though, he's at 35, stamina not so great. Is he one of these players he's going to be playing mainly off the bench for you now? Super sub? He could be. He could be mainly a super sub for you, because with 79 stamina on a whole player, yeah, ouch. He's going to get tired, this guy. He's going to be knackered by about the 60-minute mark. So that's a bit of a concern with him. And like I say, passing is a concern likewise. But outside of that, pace on the ball, as a whole player making those decent runs into good attacking positions with a half-decent finishing attribute and a bunch of shooting skills there, especially as a super sub. I think it looks all right. I think this could be one of these cards where, especially as a super sub, and especially for a Brazilian league squad, he could be handy. He could definitely do a job for you. Just one or two slight concerns with him there, but there's plenty of qualities. I think, especially coming off that left wing, and especially as a left midfield with the whole player playing style active, he could actually be a handy one for a 4-star contract. And next we have another player I used to sign in Master League. Well, I signed him at least once in Master League. That was my Flamengo save. This Cuéllar guy, and actually I didn't sign him. I think he was already there at Flamengo alongside Willian Arau. They're my double pivot. So yeah, he's been around a while. It's the first time I had a feature version of him. I think he was in Qatar or Saudi for a while. I might be wrong on that. But yeah, first time I had a feature version of him. Got a face scan. Colombian. Destroyer. Have they changed anything with the profile? Not really. He's had a nice boost on the ball. They've barely increased his passing, just 1 or 2 points in his passing. That's a bit harsh because, again, we've got another midfielder who's not very good at passing. Slightly nerfed his defensive stats. It's a bit harsh on a destroyer and player of the month, but whatever. Pretty decent boost athletically. And then skill-wise, they've added soul control. Nice. Low lofted pass. Aerial superiority. Blocker and sliding tackle. I think those are the new ones. So on the whole, very good selection skills, but we are lacking through passing, and his passing attributes aren't great. So 79 low pass, no through passing. That's a big shame, that. But he does have some passing skills, and he does have a very good selection of defensive skills on him. So yeah, I think passing is the one real concern with this guy. Nothing else is really, there's no other glaring weakness for me. Certainly as a 4-star. I think certainly if you compare him to 5-star DMFs, he's not looking too great. But as a 4-star, it's going to come down to that passing, I think, to be honest. As I always mention, a lot of people don't seem to mind the passing attributes being quite low on a defensive midfielder if their primary job is just to defend and screen the defence. So on that basis, I think a fair few people might find this guy pretty useful DMF. I used to like him when I had him in Master League, but obviously, I mean, I don't remember what his stats were back then. But I don't imagine he's too far removed from that now. I think he's got a similar kind of profile. He's very much defensive-minded. And he does have the defensive skills. So yeah, in terms of doing his job in front of the defence and doing the defending, could be a handy one, could do a job for you. It's just like I say, on the ball, even though they give him a nice boost on the ball from his GP card, he's not too comfortable on the ball. And his passing is not going to be brilliant. But certainly elsewhere, he's got some decent attributes there. Not amazing, but decent. So yeah, I think it's one of those cards where, you know, you look at the skills certainly, and the attributes. Yes, there are ones where he's maybe a little bit weak, but for some people he could be a handy one. It just depends on what you want from a DMF. For me personally, he's not going to cut it. He's not going to be good enough on the ball with his passing. But for some people, he could be a handy destroyer. To be honest, he could well be a decent addition for some people's Brazilian league squads. If you're going to push him a bit further up the pitch as a CMF, he'll still be a destroyer there. Even bigger concern with the passing, and that attacking race is horrific as well. So. Yeah, I'm not sure I fancy that, but yeah, as a DMF, for some people, he's not going to quite cut it on the ball. But for those who like a destroyer to just destroy, you just want to focus on his defensive ability. I think he's got enough. He could do a job for you. Could be a handy one for your Brazilian league squad, but he's not going to be for everyone for sure. And next we have Lucas Halter. That's a good name for a centre back, isn't it? So he's got a face scan, build up centre back. It's about 6'1", 6'2". It's the first time I've had a feature version of this guy, and surprisingly enough, for a trending centre-back, the boost is mainly on his pace and stamina. Huge surprise. Boosted is jumping a bit as well, actually. We've lost 2 points off his defensive awareness, so that's the only change to his defensive ability. So for a player of the month centre-back, the only thing that's changed to his defensive ability is they've made his defensive awareness a bit worse. Cool. Skill-wise, it looks like his GP card only has one skill, which is blocker. So we've got a bunch of new ones here. First time shot, excellent. That's really important on the centre-back. But yeah, heading and aerial. Then man marking, starting tackle, captaincy. We are lacking a few skills here. It's a bit of a shame, a bit stingy on a player like centre-back. They couldn't just throw in a couple more and give him the full set and give him everything he needs. But sadly, he doesn't have everything he needs because he's lacking interception. That's a big, big miss. He's also lacking acrobatic clearance. He's also lacking a fighting spirit. So you've got some important ones there. You've got some very nice additions from his GP card, but there's a couple of real misses there. Interception and fighting spirit, acrobatic clearance as well. Lacking some important skills. He does have solid defenses on the whole, although the defensive awareness isn't quite as high as most people would like, which is because they've taken 2 points away from it for some reason. Physically pretty strong, but in the air, how good is he going to be? 81 jump in. He won't be too bad. He's got aerial superiority. He's 6'1", 6'2". But yeah, jumping 81, he's not going to be dominant in the air by any means. Pace is alright, stamina's alright. Yeah, there's a bunch of stats that are alright, and there's a bunch of good skills there, but he's also lacking a few important skills, and one or two attributes could be a bit higher. So on the whole, is this a good card? Not really. Is it a bad card? Probably not a bad one. It's somewhere in between, but I think for most people, you'd have to accept that there's one or two skills lacking that you could really do with, and one or two attributes a bit lacking as well. So for a Brazilian league squad, if you're lacking centre-backs, could definitely come in and do a job for you. It's not a terrible card by any means, but with one or two attributes not being higher and one or two important skills lacking, it's hard to recommend this one on the whole. And next up, we have José Rodríguez, attacking fullback. He's normally a right back. They've changed him to left back. He does have a face scan, but yeah, interesting to note that they've changed him from a right back to a left back. He's right-footed, and they've not made his weaker foot any stronger. He's one-footed and he's right-footed. So for me, I'm ignoring that position change. Yes, he can play at left back now, but being right-footed and still being quite one-footed, this for me is a right back. He's primarily a right back. He's had a highlight card that could only play as a right back. That was a little bit better overall than this one, but that's mainly because he had insane speed and stamina on auto allocation. They always seem to do that with fullbacks. If you shuffle the points around on that card, you can make it very similar to this one. Not really a lot of difference, to be honest. He's lost a few points off his lower body attributes, especially his kicking power compared to his GP card, but he's had a boost to his physical strength, his defending, most of his technicals down the left. But yeah, on the whole, how good is he? Not very good on the ball. Not good at all on the ball. Low pass isn't terrible. Could be a bit better. Lofted's okay. Has he got crossing? Yes, okay. Defensively, not brilliant. Balance is pretty poor. Yeah, I'm not too excited looking at this guy. What have we got skill-wise? So it looks like another one where on his GP guy, he's only got a couple. He's got fighting spirit and sliding tackle. I think that's it, according to eFootball Hub anyway. So they've added heading, not the most important one for fullback, but one touch pass, through passing, pinpoint crossing, interception, very nice addition. Aerial superiority. He's going to be good in the air. He's about 6 foot tall. It could be worse in the air, I suppose. But yeah, we've got some important ones there. The passing and crossing, and then interception defensively. But it comes down to the stats for me. Skill-wise, no real problem there. Pace and stamina, no real problem. Physical strength is pretty decent for fullback, but tackling a little bit on the low side. Defensive awareness is definitely low. On the ball, he's not comfortable. That ball control and tight possession especially are really poor. Low pass is a bit iffy, although they have added one touch and through, which fullbacks don't often have. The crossing will be okay. But yeah, for me, like I say, he's still primarily a right back. They might have added a left back there, but he's not been made any more two-footed there, and he's not two-footed at all. And he doesn't have outside curler. And there are too many stats there for me, which are a bit on the low side. So yes, the skills are decent, and he's got some qualities, primarily the pace and stamina and a half-decent cross on him. And if you're lacking fullbacks for your Brazilian league squad, he could definitely do a job for you. He could definitely be a handy one to come in if you really desperately needed someone. But for me, there are too many stats that are too low there. On the ball, defensive awareness, the balance is a bit poor. So yeah, there are some concerns with this guy. But like I say, if you're really desperate at right back or left back in any given week for your Brazilian league squad, he could definitely do a job. Could well be a useful one for a bit of versatility, have him on your bench at least. but I couldn't go so far as to say this is a good card because there's just one or two stats there that just aren't really as high as I'd want them to be. Right, I'm going to do all the 4 stars in one go, so I'll skip these 2 5 stars. We'll come back to those in a moment. We're going to go to Turkey and look at the 4 stars in Turkey first. Is it 4 stars in Turkey? Same as the Brazil pack? Yes, it is. Okay, so who are we going to look at first? Let's look at this guy. Shall I? Oh, God. Emir's going to hate me. Ertuğrul Taşkıran. I definitely pronounced that really, really well. Okay, so we've got an attacking goalkeeper. No face scan. 36 years old. Not sure what chance he's got of getting a face scan, but hopefully anyone who gets this card will get a face scan on him at some point. But yeah, we've got an attacking goalie, about 6'3". His arm coverage is about 172, so it's not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. So in terms of this kind of his size and his overall physical kind of profile, pretty solid. Not amazing, but solid enough. No real concern there. It's the first time I've had a feature version of this guy. He's had a pretty nice boost from his GP card. The awareness is pretty good. The reach is good. But reflexes are a little bit dodgy there, 85. They're not bad, but I think even on a 4-star, most people want it to be a little bit higher. Catching and parrying aren't great either, so yeah. And distribution, I've just noticed his distribution is absolutely horrific. What's he got in terms of skills? He's got high punt and long throw, so yeah, could maybe do with low punt. Most people like low punt on the goalie. But yeah, the distribution's dodgy. Be careful with that. For me personally, if the goalie's distribution's that bad, then anytime he's got the ball, I would just be booting it as far downfield as you can possibly get it. I wouldn't try anything fancy like, you know, passing the ball to a teammate. But yeah, the reflexes are a little bit iffy. But I think for a 4-star keeper, he's kind of okay. He's not brilliant. I think if it's not for a Turkish League challenge, I wouldn't really be considering this guy. I don't think he's going to be too great for anyone. But if you do get to do the Turkish League challenge still, or you still rock a Turkish League squad, it would depend what options you got. If you don't have too many good goalkeepers for your Turkish League squad, he could definitely do a job for you. Like I say, the physical profile is okay. There's no real issue with his coverage of his goal. Certainly the awareness is looking pretty good. But catching and parrying, not amazing. And the reflex, you probably want to be a little bit higher. And that distribution is not particularly good. So, yeah, 1 or 2 concerns with this guy. But it's not a terrible card. I would just say on the whole that for a 4-star contract, he's pretty okay, really. But I think for the most part, it's just going to be people who have a Turkish League squad who find this guy useful. So for that purpose, he could be a decent one to pick up, but it's not an amazing one, certainly. Now we have our latest Yunus Akgün card. It's not the first, we've had a few. So he's got a face scan, Galatasaray midfielder. He has been changed from a creative playmaker to a whole player, and they switched him from right wing forward to attacking midfield. They made his weaker foot a bit stronger. It's a little bit better than his previous Player of the Month card. He had a Player of the Month card that was a playmaker, and it had left midfield. That was a left midfield card. This one's slightly better on the whole than that one. It's pretty similar overall to his Player of the Week card. He had a regular worldwide Player of the Week card. Stats are kind of shuffled around a bit here and there, but pretty similar overall to that one. He's had a Showtime card that was obviously better than this one. He's had a highlight card that's fairly similar overall, but the stats are shuffled around back quite a bit on that one. From his GP card, they boosted his end product quite a bit. He's had a nice boost on his end product. He's had a bit of a boost on his defending, of course, because he's an attacking player. A bit of a boost on his physical contact and his stamina. And yeah, on the whole, he's looking fairly tidy, to be honest. He's a left footer, so if you play him on the right, he'll be an inverted winger. Again, though, if you play him in the position they've given him, attacking midfield, or whether the registered position they've changed him to, because he already has attacking midfield. But yeah, if you play him as an attacking midfielder, is the passing good enough? 80 low pass for me? No. So I'm looking at this guy primarily as a right winger. He's an inverted winger because he's left footed and he's got a bit of pace. He's pretty tidy on the ball. A little bit of end product there. Attacking when it's going past 80, whole player playing style, good balance. He's looking alright, actually, to be honest. I think it looks decent as a right winger. What is the skill situation? The skill situation is we've lost, of course, Scissors Feint. They always take Scissors Feint away on Player of the Week and Player of the Month. We've lost Scotch Move as well, and I think gamesmanship, and we've gained long range shooting, first time shot, and fighting spirit. So I guess he scored a long ranger. So yeah, pretty nice section skills on this guy. He's got one touch and through, so at a stretch you could play him as an attacking mid if you don't mind that passing stat being where it is. If you use manual passing, certainly then he could be fine as an attacking mid. Albeit he's not the strongest physically, so I'm not sure how well he'd hold up physically in the middle of the park, but yeah, he's got one touch and through, and then he's got long range curl, long range shooting, and first time shot. It's not I mean, his weaker foot's got fairly high strength, but he never uses it, so it doesn't count for a great deal. So he could have done with outside curler there, really, but got heel trick there, soul control, a couple of skill moves for you, fighting spirit. Yeah, this is a decent card, this. I think he's going to be pretty tidy on the ball. Whole player playing style, make some decent runs from right midfield. Likewise from attacking mid, if you do feel like he's good enough to play as an attacking mid. You can still play him as a right wing forward without an active playing style. He's not going to have a great cross on him. But yeah, like I say, you've got a bit of pace, good balance, pretty decent on the ball. Attacking awareness is decent enough for a whole player. It's where you need it to be, really. And the finishing's decent as well. And he's got a few shooting skills on top. So for me, for a 4-star contract, as an attacking midfielder, I think for the passing alone, that holds him back. But I suspect with this card being 91 rated, and that's what puts him in the 4-star bracket, it's because he's got AMF as a registered position. I think if this guy's registered position was right midfielder, right wing, I think he'd have a higher rating. It'd be a 5-star card. I think the fact that he's only got 80 for low pass, that's the reason his rating's as low as it is, because he's down as an attacking midfielder, and passing is one of the most important attributes for a midfielder. I think if you play this guy as a winger, you're looking at a 5-star card here. I think he's a pretty tidy one. So yeah, as an attacking mid, for some people could still be decent. I wouldn't recommend him there personally, but as a right winger cutting onto his left foot, with a bit of end product, passing for a wide man's decent. And certainly he's got a bunch of shooting skills and a decent finishing attribute as well. Decent on the ball, bit of pace, bit of balance. Yeah, I think it's a tidy card. I think for a 4-star, certainly if you're going to play him out wide as a right winger, I think it's a pretty good looking card, this. And it could be very good value for a 4-star contract, especially for a Turkish League squad. But even outside of it, I think he could definitely do a job outside of it as well. I think this is basically a 5-star in disguise as a right winger. So yeah, pretty good looking 4-star card, that for me. And next we have Ben. So Ben does not have a face scan. Box-to-box right midfielder. This guy is normally a full-back finisher and a left-back. But now he's a box-to-box right midfielder. He's got right midfield and they've added left midfield. They've also made him semi-proficient as a right wing forward, even though you can't position train him. Excellent, thanks for that. Pretty expected boost for someone they've changed from a fullback to a midfielder, really, mainly down the left column. The right column, kind of, they've taken some from lower body and balanced it out a bit. It's what you'd expect, really. But yeah, this card for me doesn't look too great. He's got some pace, certainly with his speed. Bit of physical contact. Not a great deal of balance. Are the defences alright for him to still play as a fullback? No, not really. Is he good enough on the ball for a winger? No, not really. Is his passing and crossing alright? I mean, he's got the passing and crossing skills, so it'll be okay. Finishing's not great. Attacking wise isn't great. I don't know what to make of this guy, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. It just looks like one of his cards where there's a few ways you could use him, but he just doesn't look that good in any particular way, really. What have they done with the skills? So taking away chop turn and dipping shot. I think we can live without those. And we've gained double touch, heading. That's really useful. Interception, aerial superiority, and fighting spirit. This is a weird card. What on earth are you supposed to do with this guy? So heading. Okay, so he scored a header. Obviously, he's got heading and aerial superiority been added. Is he good in the air? Could be worse, I guess. 5'11". No, he's not good in the air, is he? What is he good at? I don't know what to say about this guy. Okay, let's just look at the position by position. Left back. Can he defend? No. I mean, to be fair, as a very attacking left back, yeah, to be fair, that's what he is. So that's one position change video I have done. I did it a while back. It's on the channel if you want to check it out. So if you play someone at fullback and they don't have an active playing style, they literally just play like an attacking fullback. As a very attacking left back, this guy could do a job for you when he's attacking. Defensively, he's going to be poor. He does at least have a couple of defensive skills there. He's good in the air for a fullback. He's got interception, he's got acrobatic clearance, fighting spirit. So yeah, as a very, 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 very attacking left back, he could do a job for you maybe. As a wide midfielder, is he good enough on the ball? Not really. His passing and crossing will be kind of okay. I mean, his passing for a wide man's decent. His crossing, 81 lofted, it's not going to be great. Yeah, I don't really fancy him as a winger. I think this is one of those cards where if you're trying to build a Turkish League squad and you're really lacking in options in wide areas, he could be a useful one for you. If you like your fullbacks to be very attacking and you really just don't care about how good your fullbacks are at defending, he could be a decent attacking left back. But yeah, I think all things considered, yes, he's got a few decent attributes, a few strengths, some good skills there, but I just don't see any of the positions that he's got being ones that he's going to really excel in. So maybe he's a useful one for some people for their Turkish League squads, but I don't think he's particularly great in any of his positions, really. This isn't a particularly good card for me. And next we've got Bilal Touré. So, pretty sure this is a guy who was at Atalanta. They paid a lot of money for him and then he got injured and then they sold him. And he's just disappeared and gone to Besiktas. No face scan. Normally a striker. So this guy's normally a centre forward and a goal poacher. They've changed him to a left midfielder and a whole player. They've also added a left wing forward. Can't see his maximum level on eFootball Hub, so hard to tell you how they boosted him or changed him from his GB card. But I guess it's a pretty standard boost from if you're for a player who's been changed from a striker to a winger. I guess he's not quite as good with the awareness and finishing, but that'll have made him a bit better on the ball and stuff. But yeah, this is another card where you look at his positions and it's a question of where's he going to be best. Where's he going to be good? Is he going to be good as a wide midfielder? He's not great on the ball. Can't pass to save his life. Maybe as a wide forward when he focuses really on just getting him into positions to score goals, but he's not great on the ball as a winger, is he? As a centre forward, awareness 84, that's a bit iffy for me. Finishing 82, that's definitely iffy. Yeah, I'm not sure what position this guy's gonna be good in. It could just be another one where he's kind of useful, could maybe do a job on the left or up front, but he doesn't look great in any position. Skill-wise, what they changed there, let's have a look. They've taken away, scissors feint, of course. And penalty specialist, we can live without that. They've added a bunch though. They've added cut behind and turn. Long range curler, good addition, especially if you're going to play him on the left because he's a right footer. Pinpoint crossing, interesting. Track back and fighting spirit. He's a super sub. Okay, so that's a bonus. He's got first time shot, so if you do play him up front, that's a very important one. Yeah, it's pretty clear with this guy. The focus is going to be on scoring goals, not creating them. Yes, they've added pinpoint crossing, which seems to imply that he was good at crossing over the past month, but they've also given him 71 for lofted pass, which implies that he wasn't good at crossing this month. So yeah, he can't pass or cross. He's either going to be an inverted ring off the left wing, cutting inside and scoring the odd goal for you, or he's going to play up front and do likewise. He's very much got the shooting skills there. He's got the skills to score goals. There's super sub as well. For me personally, I think he looks like a striker who's just a bit lacking with the awareness and especially finishing. I don't fancy him on the ball as a left winger, but yeah, I think basically it's just another card where you've got two ways you can use him. He's either wide left or he's up front. But either way, whichever one of those two ways you use him, some of the important stats just aren't what you want him to be. Yes, he's got pace. He's got a bit of physical strength. Balance is a bit low though, not great on the ball. Yeah, just whichever way you look at him, either as a winger or a striker, he's got some good stats and some bad stats. So it's a mixed bag. I think it's just another card where for your Turkish street squad, he could be a handy one to do a couple of jobs for you, but he's not going to be amazing at either job. So some qualities there, but whatever position you play him in, I don't think this is a really particularly good card for a 4-star, to be honest. Right, that is all the 4-stars from our 3 packs. So these are my recommendations. For me, you've got basically 3 cards, which yes, you can play a couple of them at least as an attack midfielder. I think Henrique you could play as an SS as well, but I'm looking at all 3 of these cards as a winger. You've got 3 wingers, and I think really it's going to come down to what league challenges you still get to do. Akgün, for me, probably the pick overall. Looks like a very tidy wide man, but I think Henrique looks like he could be pretty useful out wide as well. And Shibayama, certainly statistically looks decent, but I think the fact that he's tiny, and in my personal experience as well, because I've got the last card of Shibayama, you feel that height, you feel how nimble he is. He's a neat one. Quick, tricky little winger. So yeah, depending what league challenge you get to do, all 3 of these for me for a 4-star contract give a pretty neat little winger to pick up. And even if you don't get the respective league challenges, all 3 of them for me look like they could be pretty handy ones to pick up. So yeah, those 3 for me for 4-star contract look like they can be pretty good value. And then these 2 other guys as well. These 2 both from Japan. Koga, is he good in the air? No, that's a slight concern. But outside of that, I think for a 4-star contract, look at all the other stats and all the skills he's got. I think he could be a very tidy centre-back, and he's got unwavering form as a nice bonus. So that could be a pretty solid centre-back to pick up for a 4-star contract. And then Hashimoto, if you like a real defensive fullback, you like your fullbacks to be able to defend primarily, he's not going to have the profile for you. But if you like a very attacking fullback who can at least do the minimum defensively, I think for a 4-star contract as an attacking left-back, Hashimoto could be a pretty decent one to have. So those for me would be my personal selections out of the 4 stars this time around. Right now, let's got 5 stars. So we've got 4 in total. We'll go back to Brazil first. There's 2 here. And let's start with Bruno Fuchs, who plays for Palmeiras. He's a build-up centre-back. He has a face scan. He's about 6'3". Only got inconsistent form. That's a bit of a concern. He's on D at the moment as well. But yeah, on the whole, it's the first feature version we've had of him. And he looks pretty solid. Again, though, jumping's not great. But 6'3", he's got aerial, isn't he? Yeah, so he should be all right in the air. Oh, but that heading's terrible. Crikey. So, how they boost him from his GP card? Well, as you would expect, it's a trending centre-back, so it's mainly pace and stamina. Tiny boost to his defensive, so they've not nerfed his defensive. He actually had a slight boost there. Decent boost to his jumping, actually. So that's actually higher than it normally is, even though it's still not great. And then skill-wise, his GP card seems like it's only got man marking, section blocker. 3 of the most important ones for a centre-back, but he's at least got those in his GP card. And on this version of him, we've also got heading and aerial. We've got sliding, acrobatic, bright spirit. We've also got weighted pass. We've got a pretty good section of skills for a centre-back. Is that a complete set of skills? I think it is. Looks it. Is there? I don't think there's anything missing there. Let me know if I'm missing something. But yeah, it looks like a pretty complete set of skills for a centre-back there. And for a 4-star, oh, he's a 5-star. I wanted the 5 stars now. I momentarily forgot that. Okay, so for a 5-star, yeah, he's solid. I was going to say for a 4-star, he looks pretty good. For a 5-star, he doesn't look too exciting, but I don't think there's any glaring weakness there. You've got all the skills that you need. He's not amazing anywhere really. He's just kind of solid. I think some people might say these days that a centre back could do with a little bit more pace. I mean, certainly the player of the week centre backs usually have a bit more pace than that, but I wouldn't say he's particularly slow. And he's not going to be dominant in the air, but he'll be okay in the air, albeit when he does win the headers. That's heading attribute 73. I know he's got the heading skill, but yeah, his heading, be careful with that. You don't want to misplace your headers in your area and stuff, but yeah. Maybe he's one or two slight concerns, but on the whole, I think you've basically got a solid centre-back. I think if you don't get to do the Brazilian League Challenge, I'm not sure this guy would be worth using a 5-star contract on, but if you do, I think he could be a solid option. Not an amazing one, not a particularly exciting card, but he's got all the essentials, he's got everything he needs. Just one or two areas where he could do with being a little bit better, really. So it's not particularly exciting centre-back, and that inconsistent form also holds him back a little bit. But like I say, if you do get to do Brazilian League Challenge, or if you rock a Brazilian League squad regardless, he could certainly be a solid addition to your centre-back ranks if you've got a 5-star to spare. But it is a 5-star contract, albeit the 5 stars available at the moment aren't the best. Having said that, this guy looks alright. So we've got Agustín Rossi, got a face scan, defensive goalkeeper. He's quite tall, this guy, so he's 6'5", I think, 6'5", and his arm coverage is decent. It's not amazing, but 175.9, that's pretty decent to be fair. So in terms of the height, the coverage, the physical profile, looking pretty good, this guy. It's the first time for the feature version of him. He's had a nice boost to his goalie stats, and as you can see here, he's looking pretty solid on the whole. Yes, the catching and parrying aren't the best, but those aren't as important as I think awareness, reflex, and reach. I think most people would agree. Awareness, reflex, and reach are the most important ones. They're all going 90 plus with your game plan boost, and with a very, very solid looking physical profile, unwavering form as well. This guy's looking alright to me, to be honest. He's looking alright. Obviously they've nerfed the bejesus out of his jumping, but yeah, in terms of coverage of his goal and his shot stopping, at least he looks like a very solid goalie. This guy, unwavering form as well. He's got low punt and long throw, penalty saver. This guy's not bad, to be fair. I think some people might maybe be a little bit harsh and say that the catching and parrying hold him back, and for that reason he's not so great. Certainly they do hold him back a bit, but they could be worse. And those other attributes, like I said, the most important attributes are pretty good. The physical profile's good. He's tall. He's got good coverage of his goal. I think there's a lot to be said for this guy. I think as an option for a Brazilian League squad, this looks like a very good option for a 5-star contract. Outside of the Brazilian League Challenge, at least, I mean, you might rock a. I was going to say Brazil squad. He's not from Brazil. If you rock an Argentina squad, I'll say, and he could well be a very good option for your Argentina squad. But yeah, just in general, I think this guy's very usable. Obviously, if you've got a lot of, if you spin a lot of Legend and Showtime packs, you've probably got better goalie options. But outside of that, certainly for free-to-play players, regardless of the league challenge, whether you get to do the Brazilian challenge and so on, I think he's solid. I think he's got the physical profile. I think the stats on the whole are solid enough. Unwavering form, got a few skills there. Low punt's a popular one, yeah. I think for a 5-star contract, even if you don't get the Brazilian League Challenge, this guy could be worth picking up if you need a goalkeeper option. I think you can do an awful lot worse than this guy. I think for a 5-star goalie, yeah, he's not bad at all. Right, let's go back to Turkey, because we've got 2 5-stars in Turkey. We can only see one of them there. We have to go all the way in to look at Georgiy Dzhikiya. I'm pretty sure I signed this guy on Football Manager years ago when he was like pretty young. From I think a Russian team maybe. But yeah, he's got a face scan, build up centre back. He's a lefty, about 6'2", unwavering form. This is the first time I've had a feature version of this guy. And he's been boosted mainly on pace and stamina. How exciting. You never know what you're going to get from one of these Player of the Month or Player of the Week centre-backs, except that you do, pace and stamina. They put a bit on his physical and aerial strength. They've taken 1 point away from his defensive awareness and tackling, because that's what happens when you're one of the best players in the league over the course of a month and you're a centre-back. You obviously get slightly worse at defending. What they've done skill-wise, they've added heading, good addition. First-time shot, not particularly useful, but I guess he scored a goal. Aerial superiority as well. Okay, so he didn't have heading and aerial superiority, so they've added both of those. That's good. That is good for a centre-back and blocker. Hello. So we've got heading and aerial, then we've got man marking, insertion blocker, sliding acrobatic, catch. Yeah, you've got a complete set of skills for a centre-back and first-time shot. Interesting. And then in terms of the stats, defensively, fairly solid. Pace is okay. The jumping, not amazing. So we've got aerial, 6'2", jumping 81. Again, you've got a centre-back who's not going to be dominant in the air, but he's not going to be terrible either. He'll just be kind of okay. Physical strength is decent. Not amazing, but decent. Yeah, I think you've got a solid centre-back here. I don't think it's one that many people are going to be rushing to get, but if you get to do the Turkish League challenge, I think this looks like a very solid option for a centre-back with one of your 5 stars. If you don't get to do the Turkish League challenge, you could do worse. I mean, they're just a bunch of stats there. I'd just like to be like 1 or 2 higher, you know. It'd be nice if you could get the 90 mark on a couple more of those defensive attributes and physical contact and a few more on his jumping maybes, but nothing's really bad. There's no real glaring weakness there. He's got unwavering form. He's got a complete set of skills. I think it's just a typical card where I think there's 2 ways of looking at it. If you get to do the Turkish League challenge, I think this is definitely a very solid option for a 5-star contract. If you don't get to do the Turkish League challenge, it just comes down to what centre-back options you got. I think if you're free to play, if you're new to the game, you just really need to beef up your options as centre-back. I think there's enough to be said for this guy. He could well be worth using a 5-star contract on, but if you've been playing for a while, you've got a pretty strong squad, you've got lots of good centre-back options. For a 5-star contract, even though the options at the moment aren't brilliant, he might not be worth considering. He's not amazing. Like I said, there's a bunch of attributes I'd like to be a little bit higher there, but certainly I don't see any glaring weakness. The skills are great, unwavering form, and in terms of the stats overall, pretty solid. Just depends on your situation, but for some people it could well be a very solid one to pick up. But like I say, it's certainly not an amazing centre-back, just a pretty solid one really. And our last 5-star from these packs is our first ever Fox in the Box version of Youssef En Nesyri. I don't think we've had a Fox in the Box version of him before. I'm pretty sure the only ones we've had previously have been goal poachers and target men. So he's normally a target man these days. They've changed him to a Fox in the Box for this card. He's got a face scan, of course. He's had one for ages. I like this guy in the game. I've got an old 4-star version of him from a Spanish League pack from ages ago. Must be about 2.5 years ago now. Goal poacher, bit of pace, good jump on him. He's always been pretty decent for me. He's always played above his stats. But I've always wanted the Fox in the Box one because I've said this many times. For me personally, Fox in the Box is my favourite playing style if I'm putting crosses in. They just seem to time their runs the best to get on the under crosses. Obviously, target man can work, poacher can work, any play style can work. But for me personally, I find that Fox in the Box works really well if you're going to be putting a lot of crosses in. So that makes me very interested in this card. Like I say, he's been around a while in the game. He's had a few different cards. He's had actually one thing I'll note with his other cards, he's got better jumping than all of his other cards. All the other cards I can see of En Nesyri got better jumping than that. So that's a slight disappointment with this card. But yeah, he's had a bunch of other cards. He had a Player of the Week card from the World Cup a few years back now. Pretty similar overall, but the stats kind of shuffled around a bit. That was a goal poacher, that one. He's had a bunch of highlight cards, poachers or target man, that are slightly better overall than this one. But if you look at all the different stats, I think overall, I would say this one looks just as appealing. It looks pretty decent. He looks better on the ball than any of his other cards, to be fair. He's had a nice boost on the ball. And to be honest, even his Showtime card isn't as good on the ball as this, albeit it's better overall. So yeah, he's had a very nice boost on the ball from his GP card. Apart from that, he's had a few points added to loads of stats really. Just a slight boost everywhere, but mainly on the ball. He is a bit dodgy on the ball normally. So yeah, for me, a kind of well-rounded version of En Nesyri with a nice playing style. It's not going to necessarily be an upgrade for you if you've got a good version, because like I say, you might prefer a goal poacher playing style, you might prefer a target man, and you might have one where he's got better jumping, and that might be important for you. It depends what you prioritise, but for me, this just looks like a very nice, well-rounded version of En Nesyri with a playing style that might be preferable for you. It is for me, might not be for you, but it's an interesting version of En Nesyri. It's not amazing for 5-star. The awareness, I like the awareness and finishing to both be a little bit higher. You're just about in +3 territory though, so it could be worse. He has had that very nice boost on the ball. That's important for Fox in the box, because he will sometimes be, you know, he's not going to be charging in behind the defence all the time. He will get on the ball at times, so it's nice to have the boost on the ball. He's got a bit of pace still. The jumping, even though it's not as high as it normally is for En Nesyri, he's still in +3 territory. It's going to be decent. He's about 6'2", 6'3". Horrible balance. That's a bit of a shame. Then skill-wise, what have they done skill-wise? They have... Ooh, we've got long bench curler. That's a nice one. One touch pass. Nice bonus. Outside curler. He's not particularly two-footed, so outside curler is a very welcome addition. And fighting spirit. So yeah, the most important ones with En Nesyri, of course, for any striker, you need first time shot. Long range curl is an important one as well. Acrobatic finishing, but then with En Nesyri, heading and aerial superiority, decent height, decent jumping. He is decent in the air, this guy. And we've lost penalty specialist actually. That's I mean, we can live without that. But yeah, we've had some nice additions to the skills. But yeah, he's got the skills on the ground and in the air. And on the whole, he's not going to be as dominant in the air as other versions of En Nesyri have been. But he's better on the ball than he has been on just about any other version of him. And on the whole, I think you got a pretty solid, well-rounded kind of all-rounder version of En Nesyri, really. Like I say, depending on what playing style you prefer, and whether you maybe want a version of En Nesyri to be better, you know, to have more vertical reach and so on. There are other versions of them that you might prefer to this one, but if you just want a version of En Nesyri, and if you like a box in the box, you like a strike to have a bit of everything, I think it could be a very solid one. For that Turkish League challenge, could be very handy. But just in general, he's got a bit of everything, could definitely do a job. Like I say, I've got a 4-star version. This is obviously a 5-star, so maybe it's not a massive difference, but certainly if I've had joy with my 4-star, then on that basis, I would imagine you could have some joy with this one. So even if you don't get the Turkish League challenge, it could be a decent one. But like I say, the awareness and finishing are a little bit low, and they will hold him back a little bit. But he's got a good selection of skills. He's got a bit of everything. He's had a nice boost on the ball. Just pretty bad balance, really. But yeah, I think he looks pretty capable. If you like an all-rounder who's decent in the air, not amazing for a 5-star, but could do a job. And certainly for the Turkish League challenge, could be a very handy one to pick up. So that's all the 5-stars. There's only 4 of them across these packs. I think I'm going to really recommend any of them. I think they're all just solid 5-stars, really. En Nesyri and Dzhikiya from Turkey, both solid ones, could do a job for you. And then from Brazil, Bruno Fuchs, solid centre-back, could do a job for you. And I think Agustín Rossi, to be fair, I'd probably say Agustín Rossi is my pick out of all 4 of the 5-stars. I think he actually looks like a pretty solid keeper there. Big dude, good coverage, solid stats. Could be a very handy goalie to pick up. But yeah, just the 4 5-stars. And of course, don't forget you've got this newly licensed Italian clubs pack where you've got 6 5-stars in here. As I mentioned a couple of times in this video, not the best selection in there, but you've got those 6 to compare with those new 4 5-stars. So yeah, I don't think out of all the 5-stars we've got, what we've got in total, 10 in total that are available at the moment. I don't think at any point in time in recent memory we've had such an underwhelming selection, to be honest. There are some decent ones, but no one really stands out. There's no one top level out of all the 5-stars, really. So not exactly spoiled for choice, but you do have 10 in total to choose from. And of course, don't forget you've got 2 4-stars there as well to consider when you're choosing who to use your 4-star contracts on. But yeah, I'll try and put a link on the screen right now for my review of this pack, because I did review this pack as well. So I'll put that link on the screen around about now. But yeah, those are all your 5-stars and your 4-stars to choose from. So hopefully you found that useful. Hope I've helped you to make your decisions about who you're going to use your contracts on. Let me know what you think of these packs. Let me know what you think of the selection overall. And let me know which players you're going to be using your contracts on, who you think really stands out. I think there are certainly some decent ones that are going to give you good value for a 4-star contract. And I think out of the 5-stars, there's 1 or 2 out of there. Those that could be pretty solid additions as well. So yeah, like I said at the start, I don't know how soon I'll be doing the next eFootball video. We play of the week, hopefully in the next few days. But I am going to be focusing on Football Manager. Early access coming out anytime now, so I'm pretty hyped for that. There'll be 1 or 2 Football Manager streams. Hopefully I'll see you for that if you're interested in that. If you're not in the Discord, jump in as well. So yeah, thank you for watching this. I do hope you found it useful. Have a fantastic end of your week and weekend, and I'll be seeing you soon. Take it easy.